Welcome back to the Vivid Podcast, where two unqualified idiots talk about subjects that we are not qualified to talk about. I'm here with I would say special guest, but it's the same guest we've had on a couple of episodes already, Keandre. And today we're going to talk about how he has a go with the flow type of state where he doesn't need too much, he doesn't need too little, he just sits right there at the middle, has zero worries. And I know a lot of you guys and a lot of people in general as of late have a big social anxiety just coming to basic areas in life where you're constantly at a state of worry, a state of panic. You may have zero clue what it is that you're planning on doing for the future, or you feel stuck right now. So Keandre, how do you keep such a cool head when it comes to those situations?
Really, I'm not gonna lie. With me, I don't like worrying. I don't like the feeling of worrying because it doesn't help you at all. Like it really doesn't. I feel like you think more clearly, you could get yourself out of that situation or to the next step with a level head. I'm not gonna sing and act like, oh yeah, I don't worry about it. Yeah, I worry sometimes, but it's like in certain situations, like let's say with people who don't really know what they want to do or they don't know what their passion or goal is. I feel like you trying to put an emphasis on it won't really speed up the process. If anything, it'll just lead you to doing something you don't want to do or making you do something you don't have to do. So with me, what I do, I don't have any complaints. I'm alive. I'm chilling.
So you're the type of guy where, let's say, something just happened. Perhaps you're stuck in an elevator with
That's my
somebody.
worst fear.
The other person is freaking out. Are you? No, you're like
I'm
the
a
type
tweak
of
too.
person.
I'm a tweak. No, elevator. That's my worst fear, bro. I don't think I'm claustrophobic, but that's always been my worst fear: getting stuck in an elevator, bro.
So for any other type of scenario where somebody's panicking, maybe you guys are locked out of your own building or house, and the other person is panicking and freaking out. You're the type of person to like just sit there and go, panicking isn't gonna help the situation.
Yeah, but with me, before I start to get worried, I get mad. Like, let's say if it's a situation like that, like let's say with the elevator shit, before I get worried, I'm gonna get mad. Like I'm gonna get pissed off. That's one thing. I get annoyed easily, but I don't worry about things because I know eventually something's gonna happen. You're gonna get over it. It's gonna pass. So I just try to think in the moment. Like I don't worry too much about. I don't worry too much about like my feelings of anxiety because it just doesn't help.
Are you familiar with the word stoicism or
Yeah.
stoic?
Just
Do,
accepting things that happen.
do you think you fit in that criteria of like a stoic person?
Somewhat. I'm not completely there because
Mm.
still get
So
mad.
you have this sort of philosophy of like things are going to happen no
Yeah.
matter what. So instead of trying to lose your head or trying to panic over it, you would prefer to just keep a cool head and to know like this is gonna pass, or this is just something that happens.
Yeah, definitely. I try to remind myself that everything is a moment. It's
Mm.
not gonna last good or bad.
Mm.
So don't really worry too much about it. If you can't do anything about it, then try not to worry. And I know even when you say that, sometimes it's
Mm.
human nature. You can't really,
Yeah.
but I try to remind myself because if I don't, no one's gonna do it for me. And
Yeah.
let's say someone does do it for me, I feel like what I have to say supersedes what they have to say. So it's better to tell yourself to relax rather than someone else doing it. I know I got myself. So I'm gonna just I constantly remind myself, yeah, you're chilling, you're okay. Because anyone could tell you that, but they don't know that. You know your situation. You
Mm.
know how you're feeling. So I try to be my own
Yeah.
helper in a way.
Would you consider yourself as emotionally intelligent?
Yes, I think I definitely am emotionally intelligent.
Mm.
I know how I'm feeling. I may not always act accordingly to how I'm feeling in the sense where it's like, let's say you're jealous over some shit, right?
Mm.
I'm not the type to be like, I'm not jealous. If I know I'm jealous, I'm jealous. Like I'll call it as it is. And I know I can understand my own feelings. Will I always try and act accordingly in the sense where, let's say, I try to change something about it? No. But I know how I'm feeling,
You don't focus on the things that you can't control.
basically.
Anxiety, you know that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you try to control something and it's literally proving that you cannot control it, you start to spiral and shit.
Mm.
I used to try and do that shit. I don't do it no
Yeah,
more.
so a similar pattern I see with all people that have like a really bad form of anxiety is that they all focus on certain aspects of their life that they can't control.
Yeah.
And thing is, those are also the same type of people that if you told them that if you focus on the only thing you can control, which is how you see the world or how you react, how you feel, those are the same type of people to get upset or angry by you even telling them.
That none of this matters. It really doesn't. Because, like, literally a week from now, maybe even a day, even a couple hours, you're not going to care. Or it's just, you're going to forget it, or it's not going to pass your mind, or you get over it. Let's say someone makes me mad, and I say, you know how you'd be like, I'm going to remember this, I'm going to hold the grudge.
Yeah.
And then you just completely forget about it.
Would you say that a lot of people fixate on a certain emotion in the time they're in?
Yes. People, obviously, if you're angry, you feel some type of way about something, nothing's going to stop you from feeling that way in that current moment. But that's why it's like, it's a time thing. I don't know. You can't really put a staple on it or like how long it'll take, but time heals. You get over it, or you just literally forget. Like I said, in the moment, you're going to feel some type of way. In the moment, you're going to be panicked or worried. But let's say after it passes, you don't care anymore. Let's say it doesn't pass completely, but some time has passed. You start to like accommodate to like you get, let me not say comfortable, but you adapt in a way. So let's say you injure yourself and you're like, damn, this kind of sucks. And you got to like do things differently now. After living with the injury for a little bit, you have no choice but to. So you might as well get comfortable.
And I know a couple people that are like that. My uncle included from when I was on the Paul Larry podcast. He had said how, he would sometimes fixate on the moments that he's in, saying he's having like a terrible moment or like a bad time. He thinks his whole world is just gonna end.
I feel that.
I know a couple people where something slightly bad would happen and automatically they would forget about everything else good that is going on in their own current life and just focus on the aspect of this bad thing is happening to me now, my life is over.
Yeah, I'm definitely susceptible to that because I'm human. So I don't want people to think that this is like I'm invincible to everything, or it's like I got it all figured out. I don't. It's just with me, like I'll get mad and I completely forget about everything else, or I'm just hyper fixated on that. But then you got to remind yourself. Like I said, a big reason with me, I don't like negative feelings. I don't like, no one does. I don't like feeling mad or something. So I'm going to do whatever possible to get myself out of that. So if I think about it like this, if I don't want to feel some type of way, don't make yourself feel that type of way. If you can't do something about that current situation, oh well, deal with it. Is what it is. And I guess that's where Stoicism comes into play. But my initial reaction is I'm going to feel that way because that's just my innate human reaction. But then I got to remind myself, relax. That's why I try to reassure myself because you got to do that.
Yeah, and because we had just now graduated, and on one of my final exams, there was some type of issue going on technically with the computers for the testing, and a teacher said something where in the moment I thought to my own self, if other people heard what she said, they would completely disagree. But what she had said was that I'm not going to stress myself out over it. So she had stayed calm about the whole thing, just some computer problems, a bit of a delay. But there are a lot of people that make certain actions turn out to be a lot worse than they actually are.
That's a spiral.
You can even tell this to yourself. I'm not going to stress over it. I'm not going to allow it to really frustrate me in the moment. If it's not working, it's not working. Especially if I know I've done everything that I possibly can. This applies for a lot of relationships with other people. It could be a partner, it could be a friendship, it could be a business type of relationship. As long as you know that you've done everything you possibly could to work around whatever situation it was before the relationship had spiraled, there isn't anything else you could have possibly done. So if it did end and those two people had got cut off, why worry about it so much?
Yeah.
Because the only thing that does is just create a headache for yourself, which in a day or two, maybe a week, maybe a couple hours, you're gonna be completely fine.
Exactly. And I live by what your teacher in that situation you said. I live by what she said too. I'm not gonna stress out over it because
Mm.
why? Why are you doing that to yourself? It's literally not good for you, bro. That's bad for your skin. Your hair starts falling. That's another thing. I think about that. I'm like, bro, if I stress all the time, it's literally gonna show, bro.
Bro,
Gray hairs, all that.
Bro, I know somebody who is 22 or 23, and like half of their head is gray already.
That's bad. I used to have
And
gray hairs too. I don't think it
yeah,
was from stressing. I don't know what it was.
I know that all that gray at such a young age happened because he was always stressing himself out over everything. He had anger issues. He was an angry person, and because of that, it affected his skin, his hair.
It's
It
so
was all
bad for
so
you,
gray.
bro. All because it's like you ain't know how to calm down.
Mm.
Realistically, I don't know the situation, but it probably wasn't that serious for it to get that bad.
Mm. And you know what? I feel like people confuse emotional intelligence with being a nonchalant person.
Definitely.
Because there are some people that purely are just like they don't give a shit. They're nonchalant about a lot of things. But then the word, you know how when a word gets used so much that like the true definition of it just gets lost out of context, and people just start to use the word just to use it.
Yeah, bro. That nonchalant
Nonchalant
word.
became one of those
Yeah.
words,
Like
and
you'll show like with me, how I don't really have and you said it, but I think you were just using it just to use it. But like when I don't really know, I don't really have a passion as of right now. I don't really care for anything right now. I just have my plan and I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'd be like, I don't know. Like people be like, you're nonchalant. No, I'm not. I just don't. I'm probably not as vibrant as expressive as you. It's just like what you want me to do, but it's just how I am.
you're to yourself. You don't care to really express yourself like
Yeah,
that,
it's like I don't really
especially
gotta
because
explain myself.
you already have your own plan.
Yeah, I'm already doing what I'm doing. I don't have to have crazy dreams and aspirations. People always expect you to have a crazy dream and aspiration, or they say you should.
Mm.
You don't have to do anything if you don't know right now, or if you nothing really
Mm.
is doing it for you right now. Then it's like cool. They try to like put an emphasis. Yeah, you got to do this. You have to like make a mark or want to do something big. You don't have to do anything because if everybody's doing something big, then there's no people. There's no
Yeah, yeah,
regular
yeah.
people. There's no
If life leads you there, great, perfect.
exactly.
But luxurious as all these people you see
You don't, bro.
online with these big giant lives, as long as you're comfortable within yourself, you have a true purpose, and you've grown into the person you have been trying to be. You're happy. You have your own sense of wealth. You're secure. You have a family, maybe if that is something somebody wants. You have your family as well. You have your job. You're grateful for all of these things, and I feel like you're the type of person where like you don't need anything more than that.
Yeah, I really. That's literally my
You're
whole thing.
grateful for the things that
My
you
goal.
already have.
Yeah, my goal, or not really goal, but like what I'm seeing in the future, what I want, a job that allows me to take care of myself and my family, and I can spoil myself. I can have cool things like a nice car, a decent house, a wife and kids, and we're just chilling. And I
Mm.
can take care of my parents, do whatever. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck.
Mm.
Just simple. And if that's the case, and I could like travel sometimes, do some cool shit, that's fine by me. Because what more do you need than that? Nothing else, bro.
And if you can't appreciate and you can't be grateful for the tiny simplicities that you have now, you can't expect to also have the same appreciation for those things that you are trying to get.
Exactly.
Say, you do look at what the hell just happened?
Opening the door is hard as hell.
Was it the emotional reactions thing on the? Oh shit!
Oh,
I gotta turn that off.
Wait, it's not doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I gotta turn that off. Chill.
I wanted to make it rain.
Yeah. So say that you do like you watch all these big influencers, you study all these big billionaires, and this is someone you are trying to be. This is a wealth you're trying to get into, along with all of the things that come with that as well. But my whole thing is that if you can't appreciate the tiny things that you have now,
You're not
the
gonna care about when you get
exactly,
it.
it's not gonna be a giant difference of appreciation for when you do have those things in the future, because that is where sport that is how I believe, like, spoiled people are formed,
I think
especially
it's fueled by like greediness in a way, and it doesn't have to be so blatant and obvious in the sense where it's like you just want any and everything, but it could be in the sense where it's like nothing's enough and you feel like you got to keep chasing it. It's like, and you label it as no, I just want to be the best or do better for myself. Sometimes you don't have to be the best in the sense where it's like you just got to keep going for more. Like,
You don't have to. A lot of people are that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm always striving for the best. Keep on going,
and that's not bad.
but the difference is I can pause every now and then and appreciate everything that I've gotten and everybody who was also there for me in those times while I'm also climbing up those steps as well.
That's real. If I do get big, and famous, like let's say I get famous or I make it or I get a platform, I'm gonna switch up on everybody. That's a joke me and my friends been saying. He'd be like, I'm gonna switch up on everybody, bro. But yeah, man.
I'm not hey, but
I'm
something
trolling. I'm trolling.
but something I did do is that the moment I graduated, I unfollowed everybody.
That's because you have no reason to have to.
I have no reason,
That's completely reasonable.
especially people that I'm not close with. I do that. But I went through my whole entire following. I think I was following about 200 people on my personal account. Now I'm only following about 70 people of like just family, close friends, and the loved ones, and like just like accounts for quotes or things of that such. But other than that, all those other people that I used to follow back in high school that I wasn't really close with, or just people that they're not someone I would continue to hang out with
Yeah,
after high school.
that's reasonable. That's completely reasonable. Because like 5 years down the line, you're not gonna be talking to these people,
I mean,
and it's just social media.
I mean, in 10 years, you might see them at the reunion.
Do we even
Why'd
have
you
those
unfollow
anymore?
me? Yeah, you still have those. You got a email or something or a mail, because before I left, they had me put down my email and my address that I think
Where?
I would have in 10 years.
Oh, we didn't do that.
Yeah, and so I guess they're gonna reach out to me again in 10 years for that. Who knows? Maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. I
I
really
feel
don't
like
care.
10 years is too short. You gotta make it like 20.
Hmm.
I see people when they're like 40.
No, and that's where I say spoiled children come from, because the reason some children are spoiled is because they don't know what life is like without those things that they have.
Commodities.
And that's why when I have my kids, and especially if I end up having boys, all the luxuries that I've achieved, I'm not going to throw all that at them right away, because then they're going to grow up spoiled
They're
brats.
not gonna have anything they want to live up to.
Yeah, exactly. So they are going to know not the worst of the worst, but they gotta start from somewhere. They're not just going to start from where I got them to, and then build up from there. Because then they're not going to appreciate anything they're building up from on top of there. And a lot of people are greedy in that sense, where I'm sure you've seen the type of people where, like, they're spoiled.
Yeah, oh
You
yeah,
can
yeah,
tell that
definitely, definitely.
they're spoiled based off of the way they are acting, because they have this way about them that's like they don't care for certain items, right?
Yeah, or like just something isn't enough for them.
Yes, I think I've had this encounter twice or once where we were having a conversation and I was talking about something that I was trying to achieve, and this was a spoiled person that I don't talk to anymore at all, and they're like they've had that, and it's not something they really care about at all, and they kind of like passively aggressively shit talked it, but they had no appreciation for that thing, when a lot of people are trying their best to get towards this certain type of thing, and they really are going to appreciate it and cherish it. But then this type of person is like, oh, I've had this, been there,
Just dismissive
done that.
about
Yeah,
it.
they grow from this thing to something that's more important than it may be or more expensive than it, automatically that thing that they loved before, the moment they got the more expensive thing, they completely forget about that last
They
object.
have no emotional attachment to anything because it's like they don't truly understand or appreciate it. They just see how it is. Everything's superficial to them. They see how it is in the moment, but then they know they're not
Thumbs
gonna.
up shit happening.
But then they know they're not gonna stay with it because that's the thing. It's always gonna be something better for them. So it's like, what's the point of being happy about this when you know something better is coming up? I think that's how I think about it because it's like they're constantly getting just new stuff. So it's like they treat the stuff they get like, oh, it's whatever. It's just here right now.
Mm-hmm.
No emotional attachment. I think that's what it is.
Now, let's go back to the difference between being emotionally intelligent but also being a nonchalant type of person. Now, what in your definition a nonchalant person is what?
I don't think it's someone because people try to mistake or it gets lost in translation because you know people overuse the word and they just use it every which way. People try and like label it as someone who's just like they have a laid back personality or it's just like how I am sometimes. I'd be like or how I'm talking like because my voice is monotone
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of have like sarcastic expressions. It's just how I present myself. Like my sisters would be like, "You're so sarcastic. You're nonchalant. You don't care about anything. You know me. You know I'm not nonchalant." It's just more of I think what a nonchalant person is someone who truly doesn't really care about certain things. Like let's say I have this demeanor. Let's say he does something. Like let's say I'm trying to think.
Let's say I just now threw a ball at your head or something like that.
Something like that, or you call me something, I'm gonna say something back.
Yeah.
A nonchalant person wouldn't care. Like a nonchalant person is someone who it's not.
Not see, I don't feel like that's a nonchalant person. I feel like that is more of an emotionally intelligent person because I can call
No,
you whatever the
I
hell I
mean like
want.
not care in the sense where it's like, because I wouldn't care because I know it's like I'm not insecure. Like I don't really like who are you to me to be saying that. I think that's what a nonchalant person is. I think that's what it emotionally attached. And I'm not saying like they don't care about stuff in the sense where like they're mature and nothing gets them. I'm saying they don't care in the sense where they truly can't, like because they're just detached from everything.
That people also really mistake. Okay. Another word that we couldn't throw in that people confuse for being emotionally detached is being stoic. Because for a lot of people, if they hear the word stoic, automatically they think or assume that means that you don't feel anything.
Yeah, that's not.
You brush things off.
No, stoicism
That's
is
not what that
literally
is.
accepting things how they are and just letting it happen.
That's exactly what
And you know what it is? It's like I blame memeing and like mainstream social media where they try and like trade it into like memes and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but then that's the reason why people don't truly understand what something is because you just hear it so many times. Like how I say I'm in a situation and at first I'll freak out or have my initial reaction and I'm like, whatever, I can't do anything about it. People will say, oh, yeah, you're so nonchalant. Stoicism.
It's not what that is.
It's not what that is. Like,
it's knowing how to regulate your emotions to have the best possible response in the moment. Something that is beneficial to you. So, for example, if out of nowhere I said something trying to hurt you in a hurtful manner, someone who is emotionally intelligent or stoic, they aren't going to care to argue back or to say something back to this person because, as you said, who are you to tell me this thing? I don't care.
But I'll say something back, obviously, because it's just like, because that's what I'm going to do.
That's just the petty in you.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
But yeah, but stoic or emotionally intelligent person, okay, brush it off, continue it with your day, have it, and have a good one. That's simple.
And then, or like a stoic would probably say, "I can't change how you feel about me." Oh well, but like a nonchalant person would just be like, "That's nonchalant." Be like, okay, yeah, like bro, that's nonchalant because they truly cannot care, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but that's just not who I am. Because like someone will say something to me, if they could get a reaction out of me, I care to a certain extent, but I don't care enough to give you the reaction you want.
And a nonchalant person that I believe they come from like someone being that way, it comes from them coming from a household with either parents that don't know how to control their own emotions, or a type of narcissistic household, in the way of like they're constantly shouting or demeaning or attacking their child. And from all of those experience, the child just ends up emotionally detaching themselves from all the words, all the insults, anything that they're doing that is coming at them. And that is why it doesn't really pierce them anymore. It's kind of like a defense thing where, because for so long in the household that they were raised in, they found a way to defend against that because they grew up with a narcissistic household.
I agree to a certain extent. I agree with the part where you said, I'm trying to remember. You said, oh, growing up in a household where, let's say in a verbally abusive household, or in a sense where it's like you weren't comfortable or something, how you become nonchalant as a way to deflect yourself because you're so used to doing it. I agree with that. But I think what breeds the nonchalant person or having nonchalant mannerisms is, I think, where you grow up and you never really had a voice for yourself. Let's say you have a brother or a friend or someone you grew up with that kind of outshines you in a sense, or like let's say you're their shadow, or you live in a scene where you're just in a situation where like you don't speak up, you're just there. Like, as a kid, that's kind of how it was. I was just like there. I didn't really talk to people like that. I kind of just say to myself, and that's mainly because growing up, I didn't really like, outside of going to school, I didn't really have friends. I didn't really do anything. I kind of stayed inside. I think having a life like that, but kind of more exaggerated in the sense where, let's say you're just there, like how I said, let's say you have a brother or sibling that kind of outshines you. Everyone just kind of focuses on them, and then you're just left to be there. No one really focuses on you. I feel like when you grow up like that, there's no emphasis on you, and you're kind of just, I don't want to say shunned, but you're just to the side. I feel like that kind of forces you, like you don't gain certain skills or tendencies, because you know how, let's say you grow up and you're the center of attention. You know how you're gonna be when you get older. You're gonna be not an attention seeker, but you're gonna be like a social butterfly. You feel me? But let's say you grow up, your parents, they just take care of you. No one really talks to you like that. You're just a kid that was there. You're gonna grow up to be nonchalant. You're just gonna be like, You're not gonna care about anything. I feel like being nonchalant stems from being kind of overlooked in a younger scene or in adolescence in a way. Maybe whether if that was the intention or not. I feel like damn near everyone who was nonchalant was just, as a kid, they probably just, no one really looked at them like that. They were just there. I think that's what it is.
Now, how do you think you had got to this? Because you aren't a nonchalant person, I know that. So, what events happened in your own life growing up do you think had shaped you into having this go with the flow type of attitude?
Girls. No, like genuinely
Speak on
girls,
it.
bro. Cause it's like, oh my gosh, man. Like let's say middle school or like early high school, you're dealing with girls, things happen, and this could be applied to girls with boys, but I'm speaking from a boy with girls perspective because that's what I had going on. It all ties to that. It's a relationship thing. You can't really control what the other person has going on. It's either you control what you got going on or you let it control you. So, cause like, overthinking comes into play. This is like that time of your life is where you learn to be emotionally intelligent, because one thing I hate, I don't like delusion. I don't want to be ever want to be deluded, because it's like, why? I'm a realistic person. I live in like reality. I take stuff for what it is, and I think that's what plays into me becoming emotionally intelligent, because in order for you to live in reality, you have to be emotionally intelligent, bro. People who don't live in reality, they're delusional.
And then those delusions have a sort of expectation when it comes to most areas in their life. And when those delusions don't get fed and their expectations get down because it didn't happen, now they're a depressed person because of how delusional they were in thinking that these type of things are supposed to happen for me. I want my man to do all this. He should treat me like a freaking queen and I shouldn't have to do a single thing. So now when you guys are in a relationship and this is the dynamic and now you guys are in constant arguments because the emotionally intelligent guy in this situation is telling you to do your part because he isn't just going to do everything for you, everything you're expecting, and not get anything back from you, especially if the only things you're giving him is attitude and disrespect and petty remarks. That's not how that's gonna work. And a lot of girls have that expectation because, as we all know, growing up, girls were not ever told how to treat a man.
Yeah, definitely.
So now, with the new age of social media, a lot of girls are being told, a lot of girls are seeing, my man should do this, and this for me. But not anywhere is it saying that I should treat my man this, and this type of way. Have you ever seen a post like that? A
One
couple
in like a
out there,
billion.
yeah, but it if you're a girl in that type of headspace, that's not something that's gonna pop up on your
Yeah.
on
It
your feed.
also plays into even people in general, like boys too. Like they'll be delusional over girls, and as a man, why are you being delusional? In the sense where it's like you think, like I'm trying to get an example. Like you think it doesn't even have to be only about girls. You could be delusional in the sense where like you think you're the shit, like you think you're above everything. Because niggas have egos too.
Yeah.
People have egos in general, but like that's another thing. I try to keep my ego tamed to a minimum because that shit is so unbecoming, bro. And ego is so crazy, and that's your whole thing. So once that ego gets like shot down, or bro, that's literally your whole character just
It's
gone, bro. So it's like even then, like it'll be niggas who think they're entitled to everything, or niggas who only care about stuff that doesn't matter, like materialistic or superficial things. It's all a delusion. I don't like it. And then once that fades away, you have nothing. I try not to live in that. I only focus on things that I think matters or things that bring me happiness in this, like in a long-term sense, not only momentary. So yeah, bro, it's everybody really. I don't even try to put it on a gender, bro.
It's because a lot of people have delusional expectations. What I hate is now if the roles were swapped and the woman is emotionally intelligent and then the guy has an ego and is delusional. This is where the relationship becomes abusive because now, and again, it's the same thing just swapped. He is expecting her to do all this and everything for him, but now it's getting to a point where he feels as if she has to serve him because of the ego he has. He feels like he is the prize and she should be doing everything to keep him or to please him. And it becomes abusive because now this is the dynamic here. And if she opens her mouth and tries to voice how she feels, telling him to pick up his side of things because he's not doing a single thing, but she's doing everything, this attacks the guy's ego. And now when a guy who has an ego and is getting attacked, what does that guy usually do? It comes to situations like that one. So you're right, it's not about a certain gender that does that. It just has to do with social media and the concept of delusion that comes with that.
Upbringing too. Upbringing. Oh, yeah, bro. Like if you're brought up and certain ideas are instilled into your head, like, yeah, you're supposed to be the best. You need this and that, or you constantly see people chase after things or do things that they shouldn't be doing or chasing after. It's only expected in a sense where I'm not surprised that happened, that you're going to follow the same footsteps because that's what you've seen growing up. So, it's just really, people are brought up a certain way, but it depends on how you go about it because you can't always use that as an excuse. So I try not, with me, because you're asking me, do you have certain goals? Do you, like, what's your passion? I don't really know. I'm not really passionate about it. But what I can say is I try not to live with an ego. I try not to worry about things I can't control. And that also ties into not stressing myself out. I'm that's what I am. I'm a realist. I'm realistic. I see things how they are, in a sense where it's like reality is just what it is. I can't do anything about it. Might as well just enjoy my time, do the best I can.
Is that the things that you say shape you into that type of emotionally intelligent person that you are?
Yes, I gained the intelligence over time, and that was through me not being emotionally intelligent. Like me, at one point I was delusional. At one point I had an ego. At one point I wasn't realistic. And then once I realized, you know what, that's not going to get me very far in life, I kind of like adapted and I shaped myself to see things for how they are. That's one thing I always do. That's what I think. Because earlier we were trying to figure out what I am. We are like, am I a minimalist? Am I this? Am I that? I think I'm a realist. I don't know if that's an actual philosophical
that
thing.
is.
Yeah, I'm a realist. I'm just realistic. And that's why I'd probably come off as nonchalant, because like it's just like I don't give above and beyond, or the over exaggerated expression or reply or response to things. I'm just bare minimum, like I'm there. That's just how it is.
I mean, yeah, you don't get depressed because you don't have these high expectations.
I'm not to live with expectations either.
Because something that I've always grown up with from my own father is that assumption and expectation is the mother of all fuck ups. So, and it's from what we had just said, all of these delusional expectations that a lot of people have, they eventually end up in a state of depression or anxiety, thinking their whole room is just ruined, is because these delusional expectations were let down.
Yeah. So once you don't have that expectation, I mean, you'll still feel down and stuff like that, but like your whole world won't come crashing down. You didn't even build it up to be all that. So it's like, once you don't set that bar, there's no way for it to not meet the bar, because the bar was never set.
If it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't.
And if it will, it will. It just is what it is.
It's that simple.
Realism. That's what you should title it.
And so we had just gone through what like really goes on in the head of someone who has emotional intelligence, someone who doesn't let social media create depression or anxiety within himself. He's a go with the flow type of person. Attitudes such as this one, these key concepts that he said builds him into the emotionally intelligent person he is. He doesn't expect too much. He's real. He's realistic. What other components did you say had built into that?
I guess not being deluded plays into being realistic. I try to not only think in the moment, but I try not to overthink about the future. I try to live in the moment. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Now, say you were speaking to somebody right now and you had to give them advice because they are a really anxious person. They are constantly in a state of panic or worry. What is some advice that you can give to that person right now?
Can you do anything about it? Yes. If so, what can you do? Blah, 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 blah. All right, then do that. If you can't do anything about it, then what are we doing here? Like, why you're literally adding, it's probably not even that serious, and you're just adding on to it. So I say, save yourself the headache. Let it roll off your back, bro. Just let it wash over you.
And stop trying to control things.
Yeah, stop trying to control things, bro. I'm going to just call him a control freak, bro. Like, you have a problem.
Because that is what most people who have anxiety, they possess that trait.
Bro, this happened because I graduated. My graduation was Friday. Yeah, I got my cap and gown. I was in a rush. My graduation was really early. I had to wake up at 4:30. You know, I was just trying to get, the place was 30 minutes away. You're sick. The place was 30 minutes away. And like, I was just rushing. We had to be there by a certain time. I wasn't thinking. And then when I was leaving the house, my sister told me, you're not going to iron your gown. And I realized, I'm like, I just took it straight out the pack. It wasn't ironed or nothing. It just had the little fold creases and all that. I was like, damn. And I was thinking about that the whole time. I was like, am I going to look stupid? Am I going to look stupid? And then after a little bit of just spiraling, I thought about it. I'm like, I left home. Can I do anything about it? No. What can I do? I could go about my day and enjoy my graduation and realize that nobody really cares. Because when I came there, a bunch of people didn't iron and shit. I was thinking I'm gonna look stupid, and then I thought there's gonna be so many of us there, and I know there's a bunch of other people who didn't do said thing, and I realized it's way bigger than the fucking gown. So I stopped worrying about it, and then after that, no one said anything. I chilled. I had a great graduation. I enjoyed the rest of my afternoon. But it's just simple things like that. Initially, you're gonna spiral. No one's expecting you to just never have a reaction, but it's not about the reaction. It's not about the initial reaction. It's about your realization of said reaction and what you're gonna do to counteract that. That's what I do.
The most single thing that you can control in any capacity is how you react.
Literally, that's the only thing you can control realistically 100% of the time. That's what you can control, how you react.
I customized my cap though, did you?
Nah, because let me see. I ain't customized mine because I wasn't really thinking about that. And then when I did, I was like, I don't know what I want to do.
It's fire.
And then I didn't have the material, so I was like, whatever. What does that say?
Oh yeah. It says on to the next chapter.
Oh, it's a book. Okay, and then you burnt through the.
Yeah, but
how'd you do that? Oh, you just burned it.
Yeah,
that's cool. Where are these pages from?
Just from a random book that I hated, to be honest with you.
Interesting. And that's why you burnt it.
Yeah. That's why I burnt it. So that's when
cool
my cap came out. Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, live in reality. That's the best thing I could tell people, bro. Delusion isn't cute. You know, just do the best you can to realize what you can control and what you can't control.
With that advice, stop trying to control things that are completely out of your control. The one ultimate thing that you can control in any capacity are your own reactions to the situations that you are in. Is that something you can agree with?
Definitely.
What's a single, like a last to end it off, philosophy that you can share about this mindset?
You're not God. That's one thing I can say. I don't know what's the philosophy for that, but that's a big thing. You're not God. Stop trying to play God. And I say that to say, not everything's going to be in your control. Not everything revolves around you. So be realistic. Things are going to happen. Not everything's going to go your way. Not everything's as serious as it seems. Because like I said, there's so much volume that your problems probably are way bigger than they seem to yourself than it actually is in reality or to an outside of you. Everyone's too worried thinking about what they got going on. So your problem, just think about that next time you have a problem. Think about it. Is it really that big, or am I just thinking about myself in that sense? But yeah, not everything is that important, man. You gotta overcomplicate shit. That's it.
We are two unqualified idiots who are not qualified to speak about any of the information that we have just spoke about. But if you guys can take any key takeaways away from this conversation between me and Dre, you got this.
Right. Is he gonna do it?
Is he gonna do it?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
that's a great